had the jamborees up here at Brown's.
40 years.
40 years worth. Wow.
21 years at Brown's.
Yeah.
10 years at the Concord.
Mm-hmm.
No, 10 years at Kutcher's. 9 years at the Concord.
Yeah. And out of those three venues, which was the best?
Concord. The Brown.
The Browns. Yeah. I never made it.
That was like home.
Yeah.
David Copperfield started there.
Yeah.
1976.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, do you want to get comfortable somewhere so we can chat for a while?
Yeah.
I was probably about 12 years old. Cassette machines had just come out, and there was an effect called Room for Doubt. And that is what we're kind of celebrating with this DVD in the release of our current version of Tony Spina's Room for Doubt. It's been a work in progress for about the past two and a half years, and it was Tony. It was about 2 years ago I contacted you, I guess.
Yeah,
told you that we were working on this project, and it's taken us down a very interesting path, and it's led us right back to the man who put the theme to the effect. At the time, I guess about 2 years ago, when I contacted Tony, he had told me about how it originated, and I asked him when it came time, could we come up, spend a few minutes, and talk about that? And here we are, 2.5 years later. So that being said, Tony's offered to show us some of the original elements to Room for Doubt, and of course, if you own this DVD now, that means that you've purchased the new Room for Doubt, the Twilight version of Room for Doubt, but you'll see the origin of that. What we're hoping to do through the DVDs or the media outlets of the effects that we're currently releasing is include a DVD. Go back, talk to the originators if we can. Discuss the origin of the effects, the various methods, and also the various releases of the effects. I think it's very important to do that. Magicians, I believe, owe it to the people, to our predecessors, rather than just everything comes from everything, and we're going to do what we can to go back and find the history, the background of these types of effects. That being said, I'm very, very honored and very privileged to be able to spend some time with Tony Spina, and he's right here with us live on camera. We only have the one camera with us, so we're going to be doing a lot of back and forth, that type of thing, but that's okay. Tony's very hospitable. He's opened up his house to us, and we're here in the beautiful Catskills. Today's date, I should mention, is, what is it? It's July 30th. July 30th, 19. I'm going back to 1972 when you released the effect. It's 2011. July 30th, 2011, in the beautiful Catskills Mountains with Tony Spina. So, Tony.
Did you introduce Merlin?
I didn't introduce Merlin, no. We've got Merlin here as well, and I feel comfortable sitting in front of Merlin. And we also have Shakespeare. Shakespeare is Tony's dog and I guess confidant. Tony has just experienced this, probably won't make it, maybe in the outtakes if you will, but Tony just experienced a major flood here at his house, and so Shakespeare and Tony are busy putting the house back together. But enough about that. Let's talk about magic, right? That's why we're here. So Room for Doubt.
Well, how did it all start?
How did it all? You had mentioned to me 2 years ago. It was you were drinking bourbon with Bob Dorian.
Bob Dorian.
Is that correct? And well, take it away. Have some fun. Share some thoughts.
Well, I had this beautiful home in Dix Hills, and Bob and I were sitting down.
Now, excuse me for interrupting, but I may do that. For those that don't know who Bob Dorian is, could you take a second?
Okay, well, Bob Dorian, for a lot of years, was American movie classics announcer. I mean, that was his really claim to fame. But how Bob and I became good friends when I took over the shop. Lou Tannen said, "Look, Tony, fill all your contracts, But once you start working, you can't leave Saturdays, come back Monday. He says, so, you know, you got to do something about that. And Bob really, really loved my particular dub act. I taught Bob my dub act, and he filled all the engagements, and then of course engagements of his own. And that's Bob's claim to fame. Bob also used to be a radio announcer on Long Island. Beautiful voice, and loved to do Boris Karloff.
Okay.
And I think that's what made Room for Doubt work more than the trick itself. Because that eerie voice, of course, you mention it to the kids today, they never heard of Boris Karloff or Frankenstein and all those movies. But Boris Karloff in those days was very, very hot. He had this bad lisp, but even with that, he had that mysterious voice, and Bob did it to a T. That particular day, it wasn't a magazine, it was a flyer, I think a 6-page flyer, Magic, M-I-G-I-C-K.
Sure.
It wasn't a book then.
Yeah.
It was, and the back page, and you can check me out, was a thing called the Knight's Tour.
Yes.
How to find the selected card, and depending on how you started, you always wound up on the same card.
Yeah.
So Pop says, you know, look at he's looking at the game Clue. He says, you know, that Clue game is perfect because Boris Karloff was always in the laboratory and in the conservatory. He drew some sketches, and A and B, depending on which way you put the tape. What do you do now with the DVD? Have to turn it over? Or?
We're not doing a DVD. No. We do so many incredible things with technology, but still, it's like I've always said with technology, you shouldn't know it's even there. It shouldn't be part of the equation. So so behind the scenes, great. In front of the scenes, we don't want to do that. So we're back to the micro cassettes.
Well, you talk about slipping memories and names. There's a magician that does cruise ships. Can't think of his name.
Sure.
And he made these big cards where he has the people that are on the cruise get on the cards, A and B side, and the last person remaining in that particular house would win a prize. And he got to be very popular on the cruise ships with Room for Doubt.
Well, how about that? I'll do some research, see what we can find out. Yeah. Well, Martin Gardner is the backbone behind the formula. And the Knights Tour, when you had mentioned about the Knights Tour, I researched the Knights Tour, and the Knights Tour, as it's known to laymen, is actually I believe it's a chess game where you have to move the the chess pieces in such a way that you cover each and every square. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sure.
You are? Okay. All right, good. Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I'm learning as we go along with this as well. It's been very interesting. The various methods, and of course, DC used it on one of his early television specials with the countdown, as many guys have. Same formula, just with different themes. But as a
And I laugh at it.
yeah. Well, what now? I'll have to look this up too. I was going to give Dave a call and see if he wouldn't mind making a couple comments on it about it. Did he use the Zodiac as a theme? I'm going to have to look that up.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know somebody did, but I'll have to do some more
Put your
research.
hand and
Exactly.
finger.
Yeah. Interesting.
But the first, and I'm almost positive that the first printing of that was in Magic.
Okay. I have that collection in my library, so I'll go back. I've got all the periodicals in different bindings. Yeah.
And you'll find it on the back page.
Interesting.
That's, because it happened to be open and I was playing with it. And Bob said, wow, what a great idea,
Yeah. So how long did it take you and Bob to put all this together, including the recording of the Boris Karloff character? And
Ed Michelle did all
I
the
was
drawing.
just going to bring up Ed Michelle, who's the artist. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Ed Michelle was your artist. He did the bulk of the illustrations for the famous Tannen catalogs, correct?
And instruction.
And instruction. You kept him busy. Yeah. When I was a kid, I could have a Tannen's catalog, and literally, if you were to say what was on page 134, I could give you the exact effects and.
Well, believe it or not, that's what Lou loved about me.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because I started to work with Lou Tannen in 1944.
So you had Ed Michelle do the artwork, and you and Bob Dorian did the recording. Did you go into a recording studio to do the original recording, or?
Well, Bob had a recording
Oh, that's right.
studio.
Being a voiceover artist.
Yeah, he had a recording studio, and he made the master.
Yeah.
And then we sent it to in New York. You had everything.
Right.
We sent it to a duplicator, and the tape started in the middle. Which one? The A
Yeah.
and B. And I think we put out 250 the first shot. The 250 went to 500, and the 500 went to 1,000.
And I think it was $10 originally, wasn't it?
$10.
It was $10. You can't buy theatrical, and these people know that because they just spent a lot of money on our version. But yeah, $10, and that $10 went a long way. Wow. So now, who, as far as the AB element to this, was that in Magic, or and who decided to take it to cassette and then use the AB method? The half tape. Starting halfway through the tape, because that's genius.
I'm pretty sure it was a collaboration between Bob and myself.
Bob and yourself. So you're half genius. Okay. Wow. I just again remember being 12 years old and seeing that thing, and I can't tell you now. Well, let me back up. When I bought that effect from Tannen's, I probably bought it at the store. On one of my occasional trips into New York City. I lived in Philadelphia at the time, or outside of Philadelphia, and I probably bought it because it was a haunted house theme. Exactly what you said earlier. Just the Boris Karloff and the artwork of Ed Michelle. It was it captured me, And then, of course, I did it day and night. I performed that effect just day and night because it was theater. It was more than just a trick. It had a storyline, had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It built. It had It had a subplot. It had suspense. It built the suspense. It was great theater.
Do you know, or did you know Elliott?
I know the name. I didn't know personally. Yeah.
Bob, in my opinion, was one of the best, if not the best, close-up artists around. Never did it for money.
Mm-hmm.
He just loved to do. And the thing, that his other claim to fame was Al Goshman's Spellbound.
Yeah.
Goshman was great, Bob was better.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob, time and time and time again, said, I wish you never came out with Room for Doubt. I said, why? He said, because all my clever sleight of hand, and I do Room for Doubt at the end, that's all they talk about. All the work I put in to the sleight of hand don't mean a thing.
Sure.
And I always remember that about Bob.
Yeah. So your guess would be that there was probably a few thousand of these, or a couple thousand of these that were sold?
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Good. Well, George Robinson's definitely one. I kind of want to hear that part. Hey, I have through the years picked up, because I wore my tape out. I wore it out from playing it so much, and the cassette tape with the audio on it. I've bought some other ones, some versions, and they seem to be knockoffs. The quality went down, and were you ever aware of other guys knocking off this thing? Because I know, like, for example, you in the original, and please, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I recall the round jewelry holders, or whatever you want to call them, little canisters, right, with the eyeball, right? The little 3D eyeball that would move, and one of the things that I thought was really cute, if you recall, the rope was attached to the lid. So when you did the reveal on the rope weapon, of course there's a little skeleton hanging from it. I thought that was very cute. But I'm losing track here. Okay. So, what were there different versions of it, or was it knockoff? Because I know that I've seen little black plastic square boxes. That was someone else, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured as much.
These were the little white items. We used to have the girls glue the eye on it.
Yeah.
And, people have no idea how much work went into the research, where to get knives, where to get guns. I found some companies that they had weapons, and you had to buy the whole bag of assorted weapons. What am I going to do?
Just to get the knife and the gun?
and finally came right down to the source, and thousands.
Didn't the knife, I'll have to go into my prop room in my collection, but didn't the knife fold out and have a little piece of red, like blood on it?
No,
that was the knockoff thing.
That was a knockoff.
Okay.
Ours was a dagger.
That's right. Yours was a dagger, very much like the Clue game.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever consider going to the producers of the Clue game? Is that Milton Bradley? I can't remember. But did you ever consider going to them to get the little weapons?
Believe it or not, I was always frightened that they would sue me.
Oh, interesting. And that's a big issue. That's absolutely right. You know, Hank Lee went through that with the Cookie Monster Run Rabbit Run version.
Right.
Remember that? Okay. And that's been an issue through the years. As a matter of fact, the gentleman that we had, his name's Mark Silverman, who's the voiceover doing the Rod Serling character, is the official licensed voice character actor for the Rod Serling family estate. So by hiring him, I was able to handle that end of the proper licensing. There's something about that, whether it's the Boris Karloff character or the Rod Serling character, that just sets the tone properly for this. It's a mystery. It's a mystery that's built on a mystery.
Yes.
Isn't it? So that's, it's kind of gratifying to know that we examined, we tried different things, and we came right back to your original process. We've taken it, we've tweaked it a little bit here or there. But so this is the Tenyo. I looked on their websites. I went to every. I could not find this. Was this a prototype, or did they?
No,
They actually released this one. I like these.
Oh yeah, no, they.
Yep.
Oh, I thought he had them marked A and B. I thought it was A and B.
Well, no, but that's clever, because no matter what, you're going on the A side.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. And then this would be your.
I don't know what this is, but
That's going to be your layout card for which goes where, which room goes where.
yeah.
Now what we're doing, and you'll see this because I'm sending you a set as soon as we get them printed next week, is
I say that.
I'm the magician.
right. That's cute.
Yeah, okay.
Get that? So that's the rope. Oh, that's nice. The dagger.
What is that, a Harry Carey?
Yeah, you think, huh? And oh yes, the gun. Cute. We're using cards for the weapons, and because it comes in an evidence folder. There was an effect, I think it was called Haunted House. It was a card effect, 5 cards, and it spelled out haunt, and then you turn it over, spelled out ghost, and then you turned it over, and all the letters were gone. It was with a Mexican turnover move. Well, anyway, they had a just to switch out the cards for the blanks. You would put it into an envelope that was double walled and had a cellophane window. And so we're using basically that to do a switch out for the force on the gun. Excuse me.
Now, like I said, I got the original tape. I'm not sure just where it is now with that mess I got. But would you like to come downstairs a minute?
I'd be honored, absolutely, sure. Mr. Spina, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Pleasure for me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we are through Room for Doubt, immortalizing that effect in you.
I'd love to see you.
Yeah, well, and anyway, like I said, we'll be sending you.
By the way, gee, I'm sorry. Before you go, I made a cherry pie. You want a piece of cherry pie?
I would love to, but if I don't lose my weight, I am struggling with that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Homemade.
We have to go. Thank you. Thank you so much, though. Appreciate it much. All right, well.
You see my tree?
Yeah. Yeah. Wonder forest up here. All right, well, from the Catskills, Tony Spina's wonderful, this is like paradise up here. Anyway, thanks again, and we'll talk to you real soon.
I'd love to see your version of the...
You're going to see it along the lines of, because George has Collector's Workshop and all that, it is for the collector, but it's also for the performer. And so we'll see where it goes.
I think that you'll set the world on fire.
See what happens.